name is MainstreetRob. I'm doing some rural village walks in eastern Ontario. We're going to be looking at some of the reasons why people love to live in rural communities, what growth they might be experiencing, and some of the interesting facts about those communities. So today we're going to go on a village walk through Crysler, Ontario, a small community of about 1,200 people. And we're just looking right now at the third generation of the post office here. It's on the south side of town. Canadian flag flying. And a very modern building. Gonna cross the street for a sec. Sunday morning, and it's quite a busy morning. In the distance, you'll see the Crysler water tower. And just if you come forward in the screen, you'll see the diabetes center, but actually it's a medical center. A doctor there, a dietitian, obviously, a nurse practitioner. Excellent facilities there. As you undertake these village walks, you start to learn a little bit about the local history. And I'm grateful for a document that was produced by Denise Bordeaux here in Crysler. A history, which is a substantial history of the community that goes up to 2013. There are a lot of things in there that you don't even realize are going on until you start to get the stories in the background. Just to the left here, I want to show you, this is the former doctor's house. Substantial house, obviously, but now a multi-family apartment type building. Still quite attractive. And to the right down here, I don't think we can see it, is Reshape Plumbing. That family has been providing plumbing services in this community for at least 3 generations. Over here, you'll see the current pharmacy and the side door restaurant. At one time, this was a garage, and they also had a car dealership, but that was sold out, replaced with a variety store, which was then changed to the pharmacy. And now the pharmacy is going to be moving to the north side of the community, which is on the other side of the river. So as we walk along, I thought I'd stop here by the Roman Catholic Church. This church dates back to 1868. It's a beautiful church. I think the last renovation they did for this church was in the year 2000. Over there, behind the trees, is the former manse. Has been purchased privately since the priests no longer live here. And unfortunately, no one is living in there, and in many respects, it's in disrepair. Where we are right now is the high point in Crysler. You'll see down there at the bridge, and there's a car just driving out. That's the low area. For many years, there was flooding down there. In fact, that bridge, in its current state, was built with metal structures, steel structures in 1935, and was added with some concrete abutments about 20 years later. But in the early days, that particular bridge would float away with the river, and oftentimes there were terrible floods down here on the lowlands. There was a lot of commercial development down here on the lowland. But just over here to the right, I want to show you the nuns lived here at one time that serviced the church. Unfortunately, like the manse, there's no one living there, and it has gone into disrepair. There's still lots of activity commercially here in the lower part of Crysler. And at one time, this was a bustling area. There have been several generations. The thing about Crysler is it was made up of families that were very much into business here, and several generations. This area here, grocery land, you can see it's opening Monday, September the 8th. And it's going to be a fruits and vegetable place. At one time that was a insurance agent in there. Down here we have a large automobile garage, and behind that Mart's Auto Body. There's a parts store right here. And straight ahead you'll see the Heroes and Zeros bar. And almost where we're standing here right now used to be a chip store and a restaurant, Tony's. Very proud family here, long roots. Unfortunately, you can see burned to the ground. Not too long ago, that would have been about 3 or 4 years ago now. So it's quite a sad situation here. But if you're sitting out on the porch of Heroes and Zeros, you do get a view. Looking out over here, you can see what used to be the old Russell Hotel. It's now the Waikato Pizza, which is probably one of the best pizzas you'll find anywhere. And just next to that is the Heroes and Zeros pub. And behind me here is the dental hygienists, the wine bottling store, and way behind that is the motorcycle repair shop, and straight across here is the old general store. The heart of Crysler, really, and the best ice cream around. And over there, Des Ormeaux Meats. It's an abattoir or a butcher. Crysler had a very, very important role years ago within the forest industry, and it was also on the New York to Ottawa railway line, and therefore it was an important distribution location. So as a result, what you found in Crysler in the late 1800s is a lot of manufacturing. There was a furniture manufacturer, there was a bank, hotels. There was also a cheese factory, and there certainly was a lot of activity going on in Crysler. However, when the railway was less important, all of a sudden the village itself was no longer that important. So we went down Main Street, which is really Queen Street here in Crysler. Today it's the main street. But many years ago, at the turn of the century, at the turn of the 19th century, this was the main street. This was Charles Street. Today there are mostly residential homes, but over here on the left is the river. I don't know whether you can see in behind there is the arena, but this used to be a mill right here. And over on this particular side, we have one of the old homes that had been here for many years. And right next door to that, some of this property has been converted into an attractive condominium. And of course, behind it is a cornfield. But as we look up the street, we can see a few of the places that have a lot of history here. As I said, mostly homes, but that gray building next to the flags was actually a grocery store, at one time a shoe store, and there was lots of bustling activity here in Crysler on Charles Street. Some of these homes have been here for a long time in Crysler. On Charles Street, that house right there behind the trees, very attractive red brick home, is actually the site of the Crysler family house. That house, I'm not sure when it was built, but this was the site of the home, and very attractive location. And as you can see here, I believe this is where the shoe store and the grocery store was. Down the street, I just want to show you that other gray building down there on Mary Street. That was the former Royal Bank. It's now an apartment building. And you can see a lot of these homes have been here for a long time. This was a bustling community just around the end of the 1800s. So in this quiet area, with an interesting change that you can see in the distance as new houses are being built, we have a cemetery. And this is a very special cemetery for the people here in Crysler, because this is where John Crysler was buried. John Crysler was a very interesting man. His name is synonymous with Chrysler's Farm, where they had the Battle of 1812-14, a decisive battle in 1813. Now, unfortunately, under the St. Lawrence Seaway, but there is a special monument to it down at Upper Canada Village. Crysler himself was a very engaging man. He achieved the rank of Lieutenant Colonel in the British forces. He was certainly a well-respected leader, but his start began in the United States. He was a citizen. He was born in New York, and he fought against the American Revolutionary Forces. He was a small 13-year-old as a drummer, drumming for Butler's Rangers against the American Revolutionary Forces. Eventually, he emigrated to Canada with his family and took up residence in a little community called Williamsburg, which is down toward Morrisburg, which is on the St. Lawrence River. He lived there for a number of years, but he was given huge amounts of land. Some of it extended as far north here as Crysler. And Crysler himself had 3 wives who unfortunately did not outlive him. With those 3 wives, he had 19 children. Actually 20 children. One of them died in childbirth with his wife. He eventually moved here in his later years. He lived at that location on Charles Street. Eventually, his son, John Pliny Crysler, took over that particular property, and then John Pliny Chrysler's son, Ralph, took over the homestead and provided land for the 3 religious groups here in Crysler. And there is the grave right there, incidentally, and the Crysler family. Ralph gave a land that was the site of this Anglican church here, which is no longer here. Unfortunately, it was destroyed in some respects by vandals, early 1990s, and they tore it down. It's in that open spot right over there. The Presbyterian Church was built in 1881, and of course the Roman Catholic Church was built in 1868. Those three denominations can be thankful to Ralph Crysler for providing them with the land to build their churches. But as we leave the cemetery here, I think it's ironic to look at this peaceful setting and see houses right there. And of course, that cornfield is going to become more houses. And so this entire cemetery is likely to be surrounded by new development in Crysler. So I'm standing on the bridge looking up towards the dam where there's virtually no water in the river right now. And I can look to the other side. And again, not much water. But this was the river that flooded. It flooded all that area back down there, which is where we've come through on Main Street, Crysler. This was the high side of the river, the north side. And that building you see in the distance was that former Royal Bank building. This is Charles Street going down, sitting atop the river, no flooding here. But what a change. Well, here is the new commercial development in Crysler. The first time they've been building something new here in Crysler on a commercial basis for a long, long time. The old Charles Street, and looking down the bridge on Main Street, which is Queen Street, and the lowland area. It's quite an interesting history right at this spot.